New Jersey parents outraged after the state went to court to weaken their parental rights.
The administration of Governor Phil Murphy is suing several school districts over trans youth policies. For more on this, let's bring in Fox News contributor, National Review Institute senior fellow Douglas Murray. Douglas, I know you're like, the suspense there was building as I was going to bring you in.
Sean belched.
Right, I did.
He hit it.
I did not.
They cut his mic. No, I'm just
I was
kidding.
like, where are we going?
I'm totally joking.
Thank you. But listen, I'm a Wisconsin guy, but I moved to New Jersey, and as a resident of the state, it's outrageous to think that the governor would take action to weaken the rights of parents in regard to their own children.
Yeah, and this is all to do with something we've discussed before, which is one of the main social contagion of our time, which is everything to do with trans and gender woo-woo. We know it's a social contagion because 15 years ago, nobody in America was talking about hiding children in school claiming to be the opposite sex and not telling their parents that James had become Jenny or vice versa. This is a social contagion, much like anorexia and bulimia contagions. I'm very confident about that. If you go over the data, it all proves that. But this has become such an odd obsession for the American left that allegedly there are these things called trans children. I mean, they now say that, so then all of this language should be contested. They say trans children must be protected from being outed to their parents. This means that, as one New Jersey parent said today, this means that schools that have to ask parents' permission to give like a headache tablet to their child are allowed to hide from a parent a child's claim that they believe that they are born in the wrong body and are living as the opposite sex in school, but you can't tell that to the parents. I mean, this is like very strange behavior.
And also, what I've noticed, and you will see it in newspapers, they refer to this not as gender-affirming care, but health care.
Oh, yeah.
Child health care.
Well, as I wrote in
which
New York,
I found.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote this in the New York Post last week. With this whole language of gender-affirming care, if you see the photographs of what that actually means, it is, and again, I'm not being inflammatory, this is child mutilation.
Yes.
This is child mutilation. And it's not the case that the things that these happy, jolly gender people advocate, it's not the case that it's all reversible. They say, oh, you can just take a little puberty blocker. A puberty blocker acts effectively as a castrating device, a chemical castrating device. When did it become acceptable in the 21st century to chemically castrate children? Why are we allowing this? Why are we going along with it? Future generations, and in fact not far off in the future, are going to look back and they're going to say they were mad.
They were mad.
Right.
You know, you mentioned the pictures, and a surgeon cannot do what God did. They can't recreate genitalia.
No.
It's really disturbing. And again, I think our kids need to be protected from Phil Murphy, from Democrats, and from the school system,
Absolutely.
not vice versa. It's the parents who are going to have a lifetime of counseling and care for children who are going through this. The school system is long gone. Phil Murphy's long gone. They're all left, and the parents are there with their child.
And the child will have a lifelong relationship with the doctor.
They are. All right, but I want to move on because today a historic ruling occurred in the Supreme Court striking down race as a factor for college admissions. The court calling the practice a violation of the 14th Amendment in its decision. The president, President Biden, predictably, he denounced the ruling. Listen to this.
Today, the court once again walked away from decades of precedent and as the dissent has made clear. The dissent states in today's decision, quote, rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress, end of quote. I agree with that statement from the dissent. The court has effectively ended affirmative action in college admissions, and I strongly disagree with the court's decision.
Douglas, your take.
I mean, first of all, by the way, if this had been said by President Trump about a Supreme Court decision, everyone would be going bananas. They'd be claiming that the Constitution was in flames, that the arms of government were warring on each other, we were about to collapse as a democracy, you know?
So true.
But President Biden can attack the Supreme Court, and that's just fine. That's a normal day.
Can we listen to this student really quickly? I'm all over the place, but this will have, by the way, this affirmative action has been illegal in California at public universities since the mid-90s. And they voted against rejecting it when they voted 2-1 for Joe Biden. So people are not in favor of affirmative action.
No, most Democrats aren't, yeah.
What does this mean for DEI in the corporate world?
Oh, I mean, this is going to act like a riptide through America. This is an extraordinary ruling. I mean, it's not the first, bomb of a ruling to happen in the last year from the Supreme Court, but my word, is this going to have consequences. Just to go back to the beginning of this, it's almost 10 years since a group of Asian students who had applied to Harvard began their court case to say that they had been discriminated against. They had all the right grades, and they had all the qualifications to be at Harvard, and they were rejected. As the discovery process went on, we discovered that Harvard had, for instance, downgraded, in order not to have too many Asian students, and by the way, they also didn't want too many Jews, but that's another issue. In order to not have too many Asians, Harvard decided to, among other things, mark down on character traits Asian students they hadn't even interviewed. So this was racism practiced by Harvard in the name of anti-racism. This has been happening at other universities too, across the country. Here's the thing. The Supreme Court decision says what Harvard has been doing is unconstitutional. It's against the Constitution. Now, it's not just Harvard. It's almost every university in this country who is found to be in breach of the Constitution. Then, corporate America, all of these companies like Google and Facebook, we know that they've been doing the affirmative action too. They are also going against the Constitution. This is going to have repercussions, and it's about time.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Merritt.
Kaboom.
Merit.
Lives. Douglas Murray. Boom. Dropping the hammer here. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.